Hi everybody, doing this yet again after what last time was 500? Yeah, around 530 some. Don't ask me to look because I can't remember and nor do I have the patience to do so. And I'm kind of borrowing the computer a bit, so I'm a little short this time. Anyway, this is more or less of my usual thank you for the followers. 900 of you people are lost somehow. I don't know how, but I'm sorry if you followed me and you thought it'd be quality and I'm not. But still, nonetheless, thank you all for the follows. I love you all. So, we're just gonna do this yet again on the whole question ordeal. So, for the questions you people have left me in my ask box, I will gladly answer. And my first few questions are from, Demon Mir Tezka. Love you, Tezka, by the way. Little crazy bastard. Makes me wonder how, if there's any sanity left for you. Really make me wonder. Anywho, first one out of the many comments that I got. One of them, what are your RP pet peeves? Let's see. One of my RP pet peeves, I know it's going to sound weird, but the simple fact that whenever I RP with someone, someone immediately thinks, oh god, it's time. They're gonna dissect me right away. No. I hope that I portray the fact that he actually has self control. I hate the fact that people will automatically assume that he has no self control whatsoever just because of his urges. We all have our urges, we all have our wants. Doesn't mean we don't have self control over them somehow. So that's one of the RP pet peeves. Another one, I think this one's pretty common. When you. The best way I can explain it is just when you manage to type out this lovely, I guess you could say, paragraph of just in-depth characterization, all the detail and whatnot, because you want your RP partner to work with what you think would be better for them to work with, makes it easier for them, makes it that they have something to go off of, only to get like a sentence or two back, and it's like, why are you doing this to me? I want to RP. Can you make it interesting for me too? Not too much to ask. So yeah, that's one of my other pet peeves. Another one would be the fact that the person will sometimes make a character act in a certain way that you don't want them to. I think this is called metagaming, but I'm not too sure. Anyway, I hate it when people assume my Stein will do this when he wouldn't do that. I've had people who say, oh, he does this, or he jumps in front of them there. I'm like, no, he won't do that. So, another thing, when someone does that to me, it kills the mood for me to RP, and I'm like, no, no, no controlling Stein. Not that I control him either, but you get the picture. Another pet peeve would possibly, I think it's a common one for everyone, is god modding. And we all know how the god modder is, and it's like, come on. Unless your character is literally a god, i.e. Ashura from Soul Eater or something like that, that's more or less acceptable. Because, again, they're a literal god. They have the right to do all this shit. Like, oh, that didn't even hurt. That felt like a tickle. But for normal characters and whatnot, no. Especially if it's like one of those OCs who's like, I'm all powerful. No. No matter how much of a prodigy you may be, you still need skills and training. Alright, and that would be probably enough for the RP pet peeves. I probably have more, I just can't remember them currently at the moment. So, next question would be, how many people do you follow? Considering the amount of followers I have, I'm sorry, I can't follow you all. It's just so much to keep up with. Again, 900 of you follow me. I don't know, but again, around that area, you guys follow me, and I can only keep up with so many. I'm too easily distracted. So the amount I follow currently is 268 followers right now out of you 922 followers. So there's that question answered. Another question. Do you ship Stein and Frankenfren? This one seems to be quite the popular ship, but in regards of romance, no, I don't really ship them that way. I can more have seen them like pretty much science buddies or best friends of some sort. But on a romantic level, I don't think it would work. I really don't. And thank you for the picture of the funeral cake, Tezka. Much appreciated. That'll give me some good ideas. And next questions. Why did you decide to RP Stein? This one's a common one for me. I like how this always comes up, even though I've only done this twice, but you get the point. Anyway, why I decided to RP Stein is, again, the same reasons of most people. He's my favorite character. Though I actually didn't expect to RP him at all. Someone decided, hey, you like Stein a lot, why don't you give him a shot and roleplay as him? At first, I was a little nervous, kinda iffy, because canon characters are a little hard at times. OCs and canons have their own difficulty when it comes to RPing, though with a canon, you're always having that paranoia of, what am I doing? Am I doing this right? Would he do this? Is this plausible? All of that stuff. So again, I'm more or less still surprised that I managed to pick him up. And yeah, ever since then, he's been stuck in my head, slowly growing more and more. If that makes sense. Character development. Next question. Do you have any other muses, past, present, or future, that you have RP'd, currently RPing, or want to try RPing? Currently, no. Other than one OC that I have for Soul Eater, again, he's a 16-year-old Meister who's completely blind. However, his soul perception allows him to see, if you will, the souls around him. However, anything else he can't see. Everything else is pitch black. He just sees like the little faint glows of souls. Anything else, he pretty much will bump into anything if he doesn't have a cane. He's sort of still a work in the progress, but so far he's kind of that kid who's really laid back, relaxed, and I don't know why he does, but apparently he likes to try and rap every now and then. Granted, the moon is terrible at rapping, but he's just decided, hey, I'm going to rap, you're going to deal with it. Little shit. As for muses that I may want to try, I don't know. I see like all of these other people that can RP 50 muses at once, and I'm just like, how do you do this? How? Stein doesn't tolerate anyone else in my head, so I'm just wondering, how is this possible? He barely tolerates Matt, and even then, Matt still sleeps every now and then. He wakes up, he is a bit of a smartass, and yeah, life just goes on. Little happy family there in my head. Next question from Twisted Copper. Hi, Al. I already answered the first question of why Stein, so we'll get next to the others. Stein says hi too, by the way. My favorite variant of my Stein. Ooh, that's a good question. More or less, I know it's probably going to sound horribly angsty to hell and back, but one of the favorite variants that I like to RP Stein for is one, again, this is all Skype RP, so people won't be able to read this anywhere. Anyway, my favorite one would be the one where after Decon's training, he's only allowed back for a few days, and ultimately they deem him too dangerous and he's kicked out of Death City permanently. More or less AUs and whatnot, but I really like RPing that variant because it's kind of a what-if scenario. How would he feel that, in a sense, he's been abandoned twice by one family and two people he thought that actually cared for him? It gives me a little bit more of an emotional depth to research, if you will. Not that he's going to be crying or anything, but more of what did I do wrong? Am I just that easily replaceable? And am I really worth it that much? It's interesting to delve into that mindset for him. I don't know why, but for him, it just comes easily for me. And again, really angsty sometimes. Has some crack in there, here and there. But again, mostly psychological development, if you will. see how much he can be pushed, what it triggers him in the sense of anger, rage. Okay, maybe that's redundant, but still you get the point. Sometimes an emotional breakdown, what would cause him to crack, all that fun stuff. Then again, this could be just from the fact that I have a sick love of torturing my muse. um, my favorite RP partners? Oh boy. I have so many of you that I love RPing with. I hate having to choose. And I'll probably name some later on, but so far the ones that come to the top of my head are Kishin and Madness. That one's obvious. Hi, Kitty. Twisted Copper. Hi, Al, again. Brave Little Scythemeister. I love RPing with them. I just adore her Maka. Another one that I love RPing with would be My Skin is Crawling. Best Insane Kiddo ever. Sparta's Bastard, which I just recently followed. Love your Dante, dude. Just he makes me laugh. The conversations that those two can have sometimes. The Full Metal Alchemist Edward Elric. I love the interaction with these two. Just total bros right here. They can be talking serious, angsty, all kinds of stuff, and it just switches around so much. That and the fact that I headcanon Stein as a Gemini, and since they headcanon Edward as a Sagittarius, it fits just for the fact that they're opposites. You don't know what they're gonna do. Anything can happen. Other RPers that I like to RP with. Again, this is another one. The only female variation of Stein that I've ever found that I like, Frankenstein. Awkward to pronounce like that, but you get the idea. My favorite, just most gender bends, every time I see a gender bend, I'm not gonna lie, I cringe, because half the time, most gender bends for a guy are used for a lot of sexual ordeal. With this one, I can actually see Stein as this female. There's no difference to it, it's just Stein is a female, and I like that. I'm glad that Al stuck with that. Good job on your part, Al. Others that I like to RP with, Bloody Blue Rose, great Nero role player, all the crack that we get into half the time. Of course, I can't forget Always Watching, Never Sleeping. Your muses never cease to either surprise or scare the shit out of my Stein, especially with training. I swear every time Decon mentions training, Stein immediately tries to find a way for him to hide somehow. He's just like, I'm going to die, or please hide me somewhere. I don't want to get killed, nearly killed. Anyway, again. Other RPers, The Bride of a Demon is another one. Recently followed Eva Moon, and very lovely Eva. I like how they portray her. Not some pushover, very sweet and kind, but she'll still kick your ass. And the crack's fun to watch too. Another one I like to RP with, my favorite RPers, Vindictive Virus, an Alex Mercer blog. We haven't RP'd too much, but I do love their portrayal on Alex, and it's pretty interesting. I really hope that we can RP a little more. Carnage Facade is another one that I like to RP with, just for the fact that so far it's only been little bits of crack, though just the fact that Stein and Matt Mercer managed to kick off with all of these chemistry jokes at the beginning, and it just kept going and going from there, and yeah, that was pretty fun. I really want to RP with them a bit more. Too scared, but I hope to get over that one day. Another person I like to RP with is Red Hot Scythe. Their spirit, funny as hell, eccentric to hell and back, and yeah, just the perfect spirit in my mind. A little cocky shit, likes to pride himself with everything, but when the time comes for it, they can do very serious roleplay, and I like how they do it. I like how Spirit has managed to deal with certain situations and just how they come to him. That, and I feel like, hey, my Spirit, back off, people. He's mine. Another role player. Let me see. God, there's so many of you people. I need to keep track. Seriously. Currently, I can't think of any. Again, they'll probably pop up later on. But for now, those are my favorite role players to RP with. Or SOC. Whatever one you prefer. Next question. What is my favorite memory from RPing as Stein? My favorite memory Uh, there are so many of them, but if I had to choose, my favorite RP memory would have to be where Stein finally, I think this was with either Al or someone else, probably both, but I've had two incidences where Stein has actually broke down in a sense, the mental strain of keeping everything bottled in, and finally it just comes out. And I really love the RP for that because, in a sense, finally, stubborn ass gets it that he's not as alone as he thinks he is, and there are people who care for him. Just, I really enjoyed that because sometimes you get so attached to your muse. When they're happy, you're happy. That's pretty much the basics of it. And he was really happy that day, and I felt glad for him. He's been through so much. He needs a little happiness every now and then, you know? Where did my URL come from? The URL clinical dissection? To be completely honest, I was just being stupid with it. Everybody else, other Steins, had something to do with stitches, madness, dissection, all of that. Not that I'm dissing the other Steins, just saying that I saw so many of those, along with the Professor, Dr. Stein, Dr. Frankenstein, etc., etc. I wanted my URL to be something a little different, that some people find it, hey, that's an interesting name for a Stein. Again, I just throw in different words, and clinical dissection was the first one that came to mind. Though I love how, ironically, I had no intentions of it for having a meaning, and it somehow fits my Stein's character very, very well. Just for the fact that, as Red Hot Scythe has said so many times in our RPs, that Stein is a very clinical man, in the sense of he takes more of the head over heart ordeal. He likes to follow his head over irrational emotions. He has to have logic. He has to have a reasoning for something. He likes to think things through constantly, and his mind's constantly in overdrive because of it. As for the dissection part, dissection doesn't always have to literally mean tearing open something and cutting into it. How I see it, he dissects the world around him in the sense that he takes things apart bit by bit. He studies them, he analyzes them, and therefore he is able to learn more about the world around him. He wants to know, he wants to learn, he wants to better understand what is considered acceptable, what isn't, which is why he sometimes pokes and prods with dark senses of humor jokes. Dry, sarcastic, sassy sometimes. He sometimes will look for battle of wits just to see how far a person can go, and the list just goes on. What are some things that really skeeve you off about the RP community? Some things that do would probably have to be the fact of canon versus fanon. What people think is actually the character's, well, personality compared to what it actually is. I've seen so many misinterpretations of so many of the Soul Eater characters, it just drives me nuts. Like, I can't stand it. It gets on my nerves so much, it's not even funny. Another thing would have to be your typical shipping wars. It's okay to ship something. Ship, let's ship, we're all happy. But it's kind of a killer when people start bashing each other's ships and just, no. If they don't like it, fine. If they like it, good too. It's not fun when people make you feel like an idiot for a ship you like. I've had that happen to me before with, admittedly, my guilty pairing, Stein and Marie. I like that ship. I don't like Stein Medusa. To those who like it, okay, good for you. Just, again, don't bash my ship, and I won't have the need to feel like I'm going to call you an idiot for saying this or that. We all have our reasons for ships, and that's totally acceptable. Just get over it. We're not in kindergarten anymore, people. This is real life, sorta, even though I'm saying this over the internet. Another thing that would probably... I know not a lot of people do it, but there are some people that have that tendency that, oh, my character's an asshole, so I'm gonna have them like be an asshole to you too. Not in the sense of in character wise for roleplay, but just my muse is an asshole, I'm gonna be an asshole too. Just because your muse is an asshole doesn't mean you have to be. Come on, we have some common sense, or is it just not as common as we'd like to believe. So far, those are about the only things that kind of get on my nerves about the ARP community. Well, no, wait, there's one more. When people mostly commonly for Death the Kid RPers poke about the symmetry. Yeah, it's a good joke, but it's not their character. Do not take a problem that a character has and associate that with their character. There's more to them than just that one character flaw. That's one. Okay, I'm done ranting. How did you get into Soul Eater? How I got into Soul Eater was actually during, I think it was 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago for Halloween. One of my friends, his name is Charles. He has a habit of, excuse me. He has a habit of downloading songs that he likes from certain animes, video games, you name it. One minute you could hear Devil May Cry, the next minute you'll hear Marvel vs. Capcom going on in the background, and so forth. So, one night when we were all hanging out together, he got a text or something, I guess. Yeah, it was a text message. And I heard the theme music for Soul Eater playing. I asked him where it was from, and he's like, "You don't know? It's from the most epic anime ever. It's called Soul Eater." I'm like, "Huh, okay." So it took me a long time to actually try and get into it because I'm that type of person that it may sound interesting, but I have to want to check it out on my time. If you try telling me now, it's just going to push me away. And I found the Japanese dubbed English subbed ones on YouTube, watched it, and I fell in love with it. Stein was instantly my favorite character the moment I met him. Some people are like Maka, Soul, Krona, Blackstar, etc., etc. Not for me. I like the characters, mind you, but Stein just really, he made himself really known to me. I liked his character. He was very interesting, very unique. And I like that in the fact that, yeah, he's been called a genius. He's been called the best Meister ever, but he still has that side of him that's like, oh, these are just titles people give me. I just go by them, but I don't really think of them much. I just do my job. And I really liked his personality, especially when he, his little dark sense of humor is every now and then of, I switched your toes around. I wonder if you can notice that. I just really like the guy. He's amazing. But anyway, that's how I got into Soul Eater, and I've been going ever since. Next question. How did you get into RP? Oh, that one's even longer back. But I was in 6th grade when I went to try out role-playing. I was confused on how it worked, and my first fandom that I tried it in was Naruto. Again, old Mary Sue OC that's gone, long gone and dead. But anyway, I decided to try out role-playing when I first heard about it because what caught my attention was you get to type stories and people interact with it. And ever since I was little, I actually loved using my imagination to write stories and whatnot. And ever since I tried it out, I just fell in love with it and started going from there. And slowly moved from Naruto to Bleach and then finally Soul Eater. Soul Eater is the only one that I'm still stuck with because I don't ever get bored with it. The other fandoms I got slightly bored with. I still watch Naruto and Bleach every now and then, mind you. Just RPing in the community itself as a Naruto OC or Bleach OC, it got boring after a while. And Stein was the only canon character I've ever roleplayed as, so I guess that's why it more or less stuck. But yeah, that's how I got into roleplay itself. Next question. What are some of your favorite things about the Soul Eater community and the RP community in general? I think my favorite part, it's gonna sound weird. You're probably wondering like, oh, maybe there's some emotional level. Nah. The crack we get into. There's so much crackheaded shit. It's not even funny. One minute I can see just a bunch of spirits running around panicking over Maka. The next minute I could see a random strip off. Oh, another character roleplay account I like to roleplay with. Nope, still a Tom, the male Blair, or also Blake as you will. And West Violinist Evans is another one. But I just look at my dash, I see, again, like I said, a male Blair having a strip contest with a Soul and West arguing, all of that stuff. But at the same time, we can also manage to get into elaborate plot lines of all of this angst and stuff. It's just like, what's going on? What do we do? And I like the fact that we try and include each other, not just single it out to certain role players. Like, example, that one time where Smystein was infected with the black blood and was in prison for a while. Everybody got involved, and I was just so happy that people wanted to get involved. It was just amazing. I love how willing we are to do that with each other. And I'm not going to say every RP fandom is perfect. A lot of fandoms, they're stupid in one way or another. This is how I see it. One fandom, you've got the actually good people, the ones that care, the ones that are open to ideas, accept the newcomers and everything. And then you have that other half, the half, I call it. And basically that's where your douchebags and whatnot lie. The high elitists, the I'm better than you, your headcanons are stupid, etc., etc. Every fandom has that. There's no possible way for a fandom not to have it. So when people are like, oh, I hate this fandom because of this and that, it confuses me because, like, well, there are other people that are actually decent in the fandom. Give them a shot, why don't you? And last one from Twisted Copper, well, second to last, make a derp face. Ow, look at my face. I always have a derpy looking look on my face because I'm a derp. So you already got that from my, almost 30 minutes of talking now? Oh god, it has been 26 minutes. I really ramble, good lord. Anyway. And I love you too, Al. Big bro. And my last question, I believe, unless I refresh real quick, is from an Anon. What is your intake on bullying or cyberbullying? To put it plain and simple, bullying is bullying. It's wrong, no matter what type of bullying you do. Whether it be cyber, in real life, whatever. It's wrong, it's hurtful, and I've been through bullying once or twice when I was in middle school. It was not fun. Because of it, I think I could say I went through some depression because of it, along with other things, but hey, what can you do? All I know is that it's still the same, you're still hurting someone, and the fact that on the internet it just allows you to be more anonymous than in real life is pretty cowardly in my book. That's just me, though. Some people get a kick out of it, and I'll never understand it. Those people have problems if they think that putting someone through pain is a good way to pass the time. It's not, and you don't know what that person's going through. The other question is, do you think more could be done to prevent this? What could be done to prevent it? Just for Anon hate, ignore it. Don't bother reading it. Don't bother publishing it. Just ignore it and go through your day. Because in the end, that's what it wants. You're just feeding the troll. As for in real life, for once the teachers could actually try giving a damn. Some of the teachers don't care. They don't get involved, and in the end that just makes the child, student, whomever more and more afraid to speak up, because if no one cares, then why should they bother? Showing that fact that you care would probably be a little helpful with preventing that aspect for bullying. As for what do I think of shaming on mental illnesses, I think that's wrong. There are all sorts of illnesses. It doesn't have to be just physical. It can be mental. It can be in an odd way if you want, spiritual if you want. An illness is an illness. Mental illnesses are just as real as physical, and to shame it is pretty fucked up of you, in my opinion. I already answered the do you have favorites to RP with. Does this affect the way I RP with people, though? It can be. Sometimes I'll have a muse for a certain RP thread over others, and I'm sorry if that happens. It's just sometimes my muse is more cooperative with those threads than others, but I do try and get everyone to RP with every now and then. And for the final question, hopefully this is the final one, I think. If you become a parent, what anime will your children grow on? Ooh, lordy. If I ever have kids, which is a high if, I don't see myself as a parent, but if I do, some animes I can see would be Soul Eater, yes, that one of course. Other would be Dragon Ball Z, gotta know some culture. What else would there be? Naruto, there'd also be Bleach. And if they decided they wanted more or less something cutesy, feely, probably Fruits Basket. Just because, but I'm making sure they're a certain age before they watch half of this because some of this is more for teenagers. Other ones I could suggest the Black Cat anime. That was a good one. But there's probably a whole bunch of anime that I would raise my hypothetical children on. But again, only if they wanted to. I'm not going to force it onto them. And wow, I have pretty much wasted 31 minutes just talking and rambling. All right. Well, this comes to a conclusion of the video. Thank you all again so much for the 922 followers. I still say you're lost, but again, thank you. And I hope to RP with a good majority of you someday. See you later.